All right, folks, here we are for another session of Off the Grid. I wanted to welcome my next guest. He is a music producer who hails all the way from Germany. Wanted to welcome music producer Noblonski. Thank you for joining me today. Good evening on your side of the world. How's it going over there?
Thanks for having me. Pretty good for now.
All right, man. Well, hey, man, before we go into your music, can we just start with a quick introduction? Tell me where you were born, where exactly in Germany you're at, and how long you've been making music.
Well, I was born in '83 over here in East Germany back then. And yeah, when did I start making music? That was almost 20 years ago.
Wow.
If we're talking like hip hop stuff, my first, you know, training wheel things happened in Fruity Loops. And
Oh,
that was actually, I was in England. There was like some internship. And a
nice.
friend of mine, he was also with me there. And he was actually rapping German
Okay.
and
Oh, wow.
also, played around a little bit with beat making. And he showed me how all that stuff works. I was always interested in that stuff. And yeah, so that kind of stuck.
Yeah, very
Before,
cool. And how was your introduction to music in terms of what your parents were playing? What kind of style of or genre of music were your parents listening to as a child?
That's actually a great question. Because back then, when Germany was still split in half, I was
Right?
on the communist side. Like rap and all the hard rock stuff,
No.
that was forbidden. You couldn't
Yep.
get your hands on that, or ears for that matter. And my mom, she was basically listening to what's on the radio. And my
Mhm.
dad, I met him later because he kind of fled the country,
Okay.
you know, uh, and I can understand why.
Okay.
So, but he was also more like the rock guy.
Okay.
And yeah, but at first, actually, I was kind of more into classical music,
Oh,
and
wow.
from there, it kind of, I also like learned to play the piano when I was 10,
Wow.
and I did that for 2 to 3 years,
Okay.
like really going to a school, having a teacher, and all that stuff. So I was actually more interested in classical music because all
Okay.
that radio stuff kind of sounded the same to me back then already. And
Okay.
yeah, so
Wow.
it kind of went from there.
Yeah, and at some point, the Berlin Wall fell, and then East and West became one, and eventually you would get exposed to rap music. What
Yeah.
was your first exposure to rap music?
I don't know if that stuff was kind of big over there. We had like these, how would you call that? It's like some really electronic pop music,
Sure,
like Fun
sure.
Factory.
Yeah,
That
okay.
was, and
That was the start, huh?
yeah, and there was always some rap. Like the third part was always rap,
Right.
and but I was always on like electronic beats.
Over fat,
But
yeah, the fast beats. It's kind of
yeah,
the Euro style too, right?
yeah,
Of yeah, I remember over like house music, and I
yeah,
do
yeah,
remember
yeah.
some of that in the early '90s. Yeah. Oh,
That
that's
was like
interesting.
weird, and I never liked that. It was like catchy, but yeah, not really my thing. But then at some point, rap started to come over here,
Okay.
but always this kind of, I always call it like pop rap,
Okay.
the
Yeah.
thick shiny jackets, like yo yo yo, and we're the coolest, we're the greatest, and look at us dance, that kind
Yeah.
of rap,
Okay.
And then I actually just saw that music video the other day. I think they were German, like they're called H blocks with an X at the end.
Oh
And
wow. I don't know. I don't think.
I think they were German. And but they pretended to play guitars, and having a drummer and going hard. But that was production and that was rap. Like
Oh
seeing
wow.
that now, I was like, yeah, you're not playing that.
Different
And
times.
I never really got into it back then, but when I really liked rap was kind of the storytelling stuff and
Sure.
stupid stuff. Like I think Eminem was the first time, like the Slim Shady LP stuff. That was the
Okay.
first time I really got interested into rap because there was, regular songs had like, I don't know, maybe 50, 60 words in it that kind of repeat all the time.
Yeah,
And
sure.
then this dude was just going on like all the time. It's like, okay, this guy is
Yeah,
telling a story.
he
And
was pretty amazing.
yeah, back then I really liked it. Right now, I don't care that much. But actually, to get into underground or for rap that matter, was through Blink 182 because these
Oh,
guys, and that's
interesting.
weird, right?
Yeah.
These guys were always easy to understand, easy to follow, and
Okay.
like especially as a foreigner, I learned English when I was in fifth grade,
Okay.
and sixth, seventh grade, I started really listening to music. Like not just hearing it, but also listening to the words and lyrics. And these guys, they were like hilarious, and I always,
Wow.
could follow them. And then, like with Eminem, also starting to listen more, uh, and then went like Ray, Snoop Dogg, and these guys. And in 2001, a friend of mine, he brought a CDR because you couldn't really get the underground stuff over here. That was like one store in Berlin, and
Tough. Yeah.
yeah, and he brought a CDR that was, I thought that stuff was misspelled because it started with a lowercase letter
Oh,
and the rest was uppercase, which was
sure.
Claudette, and I was like,
Oh, whoa.
whoa, what is
Nice.
that? And
Yeah.
then I kind of got more interested in that area of rap, because it
Yeah.
all didn't really sound the same. And then when I had two, like two CDs of Restiform Bodies for a weekend, because he would not lend me stuff, he was like, "Yeah, you can listen to this when I'm over, but you're not getting that." And one weekend, he forgot like the two Restiform Bodies CDs and listened to that all the time. It's like, okay,
Uh,
yeah, I'm done with all that pop rap.
yeah.
And I
Wow.
really got interested. I really started, digging, and then I found Peanuts and Corn and all the other Anticon stuff.
Yeah.
The Them LP that was like the first really addiction, basically,
Yeah.
and the Fantastic Damage by LP that was
Oh gosh.
really still probably getting a lot of hate for this when I say that, but for me, still the only good LP record, the one that I
Yeah.
enjoy the most. Let's say
There
that.
you go.
And
Yeah.
yeah, so and then yeah,
Wow, that's amazing that kind of your first exposure to underground was Anticon
yeah,
and then Peanuts and Corn out of Canada. Oh, that's crazy, man. What a good first introduction to underground rap. And I imagine,
oh yeah,
I mean, I was in the United States when I got introduced to that stuff, and I even had a hard time finding it. So I can't
oh
even imagine the harder time that you had trying to find it in Germany and trying to get it shipped over there. And the internet was kind of just starting out. So
yeah,
yeah, I don't even know if you could, if there were the systems were in place to find the music. So man, that's fascinating. Hey, so with that, also, I mean, you're a producer, so producer wise, who were you attracted to? Whose beats caught your ear? And are there any particular favorites that were foundational into you becoming a producer?
you see that?
I love it. And I love the ATAC shirt, man. That's
Thanks,
great.
man. Well, definitely later on Factor, but at first, Gel, of course,
Yep.
um, Alias,
Oh man.
McEnroe, Buck 65, 62, and yeah, these guys. That's like basically like mind blowing. Like
I love it.
every one of those had their like kind of signature style, and all of them totally influenced me. Like when I
That's
started making music. So,
yeah,
but also
fantastic.
these what came later, the Bully records. Remember that?
Now,
The
who produced
Bull
those?
all kinds of guys. And there was Pila, for example. There
Okay.
was a 6.2 on some of those. It was like
Oh,
a
okay. That camp.
30, yeah, like a
Okay.
37 inches kind of.
Okay.
And also Buddy Peace
Yep.
and
From Strange Famous. Yep.
Signify and these guys.
Very cool. Okay, so these were key producers that influenced you, and then at some point you got a hold of Fruity Loops, and you
Oh yeah.
started trying to make beats. And I remember too playing with it in the '90s, and it was a little hard for me to understand at the time. But hey, you stuck around. And how long were you messing with Fruity Loops before you felt like I've got some decent beats? When was that?
Well, remember even before 2006, I think that must have been 2001, 2 as well.
Right.
Like the same guy who brought me the other CDs, he also showed me Fruity Loops, and it was like a
Okay.
very early version. And nothing made sense, and I was like, yeah, okay, that's pretty great, but I'm good. And
Okay.
then it took a couple more years, and like the guy really showed me how it worked, how we could like time stretch things and
Okay.
make it work. And so it's on BPM, how to get
Slow it
the
down.
drums and stuff like that, how to sample actually as well. And
Okay.
then it was like a couple of weeks, and I did 2 or 3 tracks. Actually, I sampled, what was it, A Caveman Speak, the dudes from Belgium.
Okay.
And yep, I think it was Pilaf.
Okay.
Like some parts that I
Yeah.
just found, okay, there's no drums in there, I can sample that. And
Very
I
cool.
think I still have those somewhere, but nah, you can't listen to that. It's whack.
It's the,
I
the
had
first stuff.
no idea. I had no idea what I was doing, you know. Basically just trying to recreate something. And then I think it was in 2010 that I really felt what's the word? I felt like, okay, now I can actually release something, you know.
Oh wow. Okay.
Confident, that's the word. And I also reached out to a couple of guys. Kid Presentable from he's in California,
Okay.
somewhere around LA.
Oh
And
wow.
this guy, I met him through MySpace. Like back then, when you met everybody in MySpace, that was a
Yeah.
great place. And yeah, with this guy, I got into a collective called Paper Lanterns Collective back then. It
Very
was like
cool.
7 to 10 guys, and there was lots of talent in there. And that was a really good time. That was a
Yeah.
really good time. That
And
was the start, kind
did
of.
you put your first album out in 2010 under that collective, or when was the first album that you put
No,
together?
there was, well, it's not really an album. It was an EP. It's called
Okay.
Koskela.
Okay.
And it was back then 6 tracks.
Yeah.
And yeah, I just dropped it on CD. Actually, there's a nice story to that. Yeah,
Yeah. Let's hear
it
it.
must have been 2009, actually, not 2010, 2009,
Okay.
because I think it was through the Controller 7 forum. There was Walter Gross. He was doing with K the I the Youth Kill stuff.
Okay.
And I was kind of talking to him, and he said, "Yeah, we're coming through Europe, and if I could hook him up with some, places where he can play and places to stay." I was like, "Yeah, we can just stay here, you know." And
Yeah.
yeah, then it was not just him; it was also with K the I, and both of them. We were staying in my 1-room apartment back then.
That's oh holy cow.
And actually Walter had to leave. There was something happened, and he had
Okay.
to go back to America, and
Oh
then
wow.
there was a spot open for the concert, and Kiki, he asked me, so do you want to fill in? And I was like, well, I actually never played live. I
Yeah.
never done that stuff. And there was like we had a time slot of 2.5 weeks.
Okay.
And But I told him I actually want to, and like Kiki, he's the master in Ableton, and
Oh,
like he goes super crazy with his live stuff, and so I thought if there's somebody who can show me how that stuff works, it's him.
yeah.
And we had
Oh,
2 weeks,
that's awesome.
and it worked. So
And you guys were playing
um,
around Berlin or just at one spot or?
just at one spot. He had a
Very
couple of
cool.
other, but for then I was like opening up for him. I was also like crazy to me, like
What
opening
a
up for
way to
K.I.
learn.
Yeah,
Yeah. Holy cow.
and it's yeah. Then and you know that was also always this thing. What I really preferred about the underground is when you go to shows. Back then it
Yeah.
was like $5 to $10. Like
Yep.
my first show that I went to was the Mush tour, and it was like wow, mind blowing. I think I paid $7 for that,
Fantastic. I
and
remember those days.
it's insane. Also, like afterwards, I bought like some stuff from Anti MC,
Okay.
and Dose was there, and could talk to these guys. Not like when you
Right.
pay $90 to see, I don't know, one of the big shots. It's like, yeah, you can't really talk to them or get your
Yeah.
shit signed.
Yeah. Nor are you sitting close, right? You're quite far.
Yeah,
And so,
yeah,
yeah, you're right. I did love that about underground shows that the artist would come down and hang out after their set,
yeah,
and that you're right, that was fun. Or they would be selling their merch at the table.
exactly. You could
Yeah,
talk to them, and it's like they were so approachable. And um and then I thought, okay, so if I'm playing a show, I need merch. And
yeah.
who was that? I think it was Sage. Like
Okay.
he said something like one of his lines. Of course, nothing comes to mind now. You got a 3-song promo and you're selling T-shirts or something like that. And so I had a couple of songs, but I wanted to sell some stuff. So I put the best tracks that I had together, and it was
Nice.
like a track with Brett Hamers and
Okay.
that Kid Presentable guy,
Yep.
and four instrumentals actually. And yeah, that was I put it on one of those the small 3-inch CDs.
How cool.
And
Oh, cool. Super
yeah,
cool. Did you burn them from your house or did you have
of
to
course.
pay, Yeah, I love it. Do you have
Do
copies of your first demo?
I have one of those left, yes.
Fantastic. It's always good to have one just to remember
Yeah,
where you start.
like Margin from Canada, he actually got me also on the same train. He was like, okay, actually always want to have one copy of where I'm on,
That's
and
right.
yeah, I'm the same way kind of. So I always, I'm still making most of the stuff that I'm doing, like 90% of what I'm doing myself, and I always make one copy more just for myself.
Yeah.
And
So are you doing the 3D covers? Is that you?
yes, yes,
Oh, those are amazing, man.
thanks,
Those
man.
are, yeah, yeah, very, very cool. So,
Actually,
wow.
coincidentally, I got a couple here. This was the first one.
Dude, that
It's
looks amazing.
does it blur out over there as well? It's kind of
No, I got it good. But
okay.
what are you doing? Are you gluing those pieces on there? Are you carving
Yes,
it? Okay.
it's I always like combining stuff,
Okay.
and back then I was kind of nerding out over 3D printing, and
Yeah.
I tried to find a way to combine, yeah, two things again. It was
Wow.
during COVID actually when I started, excuse me, doing that, and then I thought, because you remember when COVID hit, everything just got super expensive shipping
Yep.
wise, and it took
Absolutely.
ages, and you weren't really sure if something would arrive or not.
Yeah.
And man, I lost so much last copies of something that was stuck overseas or at
Yeah.
customs that had nobody working there. And then I thought, I just got into this other group back then, Saskatoon Folk Rap Records. And
Absolutely.
then I was kind of starting to make the European copies for, yeah, the European market, because actually
That.
save a lot of shipping, like a lot. And but I thought, yeah, I just don't want to be another tape label, you know.
That is cool.
Like back then, Bertrand Blanchard from Hello LA, he was
Okay.
also still doing his thing, and I didn't want to, you know, copy him or you know, trying to get his fan base or something like that, you know, because he did like this amazing thing where you had the art printed on transparent stickers, and
Oh
those
wow.
were on the inside of the
Okay.
tape cases. So and those looked amazing.
Oh,
And
cool.
so I thought, okay, let's try something else. I just don't want to make one more tape label, and
Yeah.
I want to have something that stand out. And I was like, okay, yeah. Went to this
Yeah.
friend. He was back then making it's like a Command and Conquer inspired board game kind of thing, you know.
Yeah.
And he was building tanks and bases and stuff like that. And I was like, okay, so let's kind of try that. And he made the first covers for me. And also, like, together we kind of designed that stuff. And he showed me how all of that works. And
Yeah.
yeah, then I just, you know, got them printed and hand painted those myself, put the cover
Wow.
inside, and yeah, went from there.
I
The last
thought
ones
those
I'm
were
designing myself.
very, very unique. I really enjoyed the artistry and craftsmanship
Thanks, man.
on those tapes. Very cool. And so, but you would keep the same original tape, but the cover would be different, right?
Actually, dub everything myself because,
Oh, okay.
like here, the first one I can actually show this. It's like Rob Crooks.
Yeah.
Also, like at first we had thought it was like a nice little joke. We had the entire album title translated into German, like word for
That
word.
is
Sometimes it doesn't even
awesome.
make sense. Just, you know, like an inside joke. And back then the tapes were like that. There was nothing on them
Oh,
because
okay.
I had no clue. And
Yep.
I was just learning as I went along. Then afterwards, I think this one here, there's like this Kits Willman. He's also from Canada. And
Okay.
he's, yeah, anybody who doesn't know about Kits Willman, check him out because he's fucking
Yeah,
dope. And they did like these stickers,
I
and
got it.
like right now, then afterwards here's like some cool Keith stuff. This is
Oh, okay.
kind of
Very
printed. Now
cool.
I'm going with transparent ones, but it's always evolving, you know.
Fantastic, man. That's great. Well, yeah, hey, I wanted to appreciate the work you did and just call it out. So awesome. Thank you for the explanation on how it progressed and how it started. So very cool. Well, hey, man, your taste in music, man, is it just rap or what else do you like? What other genres of
No.
music do you listen to?
Um ha, like I said, I started out with the classical stuff, so I could
Yeah.
always appreciate when somebody has like a music education and stuff like that.
Okay.
And for example, this dude, I also got to know him via Anticon. It's like Son Lux, when he
Okay.
was doing his solo stuff before.
All right.
Well, the stuff as a band is also great, but the solo stuff is different because it's a kind of a mix of production and composition, and but not just that kind of stuff. I also listen to lots of indie rock type of thing.
Okay. Cool.
Uh, Also got kind of everything is a little bit related to Anticon and around that area, like Hood, for example. Dose and Yoni, they did this these 3 tracks with this UK indie band Hood on
Okay.
Cold House, which is also a great album. And like the Postal Service, I really like their album. And
Okay.
there's like Epic 45. It's like sometimes instrumental post rocky things, sometimes with vocals. I really like Illuvium, for example. It's like this ambient kind of, it's key based, so there's lots of piano stuff, organs, electronic organs, not really synthesizers, I would say. It's like the guy who's in Inventions together
Okay.
with a guy from Explosions in the Sky, if I think it's Explosions in the Sky. And yeah, so I think
Yeah.
the best way to summarize it, if it's musically interesting,
Yeah,
then I like it.
I
And
love
that's
it.
why I like the rap, the underground stuff, because most of the guys have something to say. The music is done by people who really like music and who enjoy music,
Yeah,
and you hear that, and you hear it's not just okay. Yeah, we gotta follow this formula so we get enough listeners. You
sure.
know, I appreciate more the art in music. Yeah,
Fantastic, man. And so, hey, you've come a long way from Fruity Loops. What are you using now to make beats?
Fruity Loops.
Are you really?
Yeah,
Fantastic. Oh,
I
that's
tried
awesome, man.
when Kiki when he showed me the Ableton for the live show, the first live show. It was okay. Yeah, I'm trying to get to use this, and yeah, it didn't last long. I didn't really. It didn't make sense to me because I was kind of used to Fruity Loops already, and
Okay.
I also tried Reason for a while and
Okay.
made a couple of beats in Reason, and but it wasn't the same. It was not as
Yeah.
intuitive, and yeah, like at first used the cracked version of Fruity Loops, and then at some point, I think like 10 years ago, I bought that stuff because
That's
you get
right.
like lifetime free updates and stuff like
Extra
that.
stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. So and now it's just turned into this powerhouse of production, and you have a live mode, performance mode, where you can
Wow.
basically just yeah, do the same thing live that you would normally do in Ableton, or I did back then.
That
And
is cool.
yeah, so I switched to that, and I started in, I think it was 2017 when I went back to the stage, because I had the
Wow.
opportunity. I was like, okay, yeah, let's go back, let's do that. And
Yeah.
only was only 8 year break, but
Still.
yeah, it was fun. It was fun. It
Hey,
was
that's super cool. You've mastered Fruity Loops, and that's why you go with what's comfortable, right? And makes
yeah,
sense.
yeah.
Yeah, I'm a bit of a guy like that too as well. So yeah, that's awesome that you have mastered it and got it to a expert level, man. That's great. Well, cool, man. Hey, and you said you mentioned you played the piano too. Are there any other instruments that you play, or
I
was it
did.
strictly just the piano?
Well, piano was the stuff I spent the most time with, but
Mhm.
a couple of years ago, I picked up bass guitar,
Okay.
but string instruments aren't really my thing. I sampled
Okay.
them, but but my teacher said, "Yeah, you should keep going. You got talent." But I was like, "Nah, I'm
Okay.
good."
Yeah. Oh, that's very cool, man. But yeah, you dabbled in a lot of things.
Yeah.
And so, hey, man, you're established now, and now you are Noblonski. And how did you get your producer name? What's the story behind it? Does it mean anything?
Yes and no. It's kind of play on my last name, which is Jablonski.
Oh, okay.
It's kind of It's, well, it's not kind of. It is Polish. It's a Polish name, but
Okay.
and ja in German means yes, and
Got it.
so
So no. Yeah.
it
Oh,
was
I like
actually
that.
when Google started their email service. That's a couple of months back.
Where you had to get
uh,
an invite? Is that the one
yeah,
you're talking
yeah.
about? Oh, yeah, I remember those days. Yeah.
And I just wanted one word. It was even before I made music. And I uh, I tried Jablonski, but somebody else already did that, and was like, yeah, okay, that one's taken. Chose another one. I was like, Noblonski sounds kind of cool. And
Yeah.
then I picked that, and also thought, okay, that's pretty cool actually as an artist name. So I stuck with that.
Oh, that's funny, man. I like the story behind it. Very cool. Oh man, very nice, man. So yeah, hey man, you've been doing that, and maybe you get a fascinating scene out there. I know Berlin though, and I think maybe I guess Germany, maybe in general, big electronic music scene too, right? And so, but how does the hip hop scene fare well in Germany? Is it quite huge, quite big too, or yeah? What do you think?
um, Actually, German in music never really, resonated with me.
Okay.
I think I can blame my grandparents for that. They had always this radio station with, back then when I was a kid, that music was already old. There was like
Okay.
this radio station with it's like, I don't even know what's the equivalent in English for that, but it's this type of music that always, you know, describes the perfect world, and it's also very formula based. And yeah, it, it kind of felt weird to my ears
Okay.
since back then. And
Yeah.
also like German rap, I don't know, it just sounds wrong to me. It's there
Okay.
are very few guys that actually sound good. um this dude that Zoen worked with, Epilogue, on
Okay.
the One Night Between album on Mill Pavement. I was like, that's that's rap in German. That sounds good. That dude has something to say, you know, and it sounds like very poetic
Nice.
and really good. And that was always missing for me in the regular German rap that was, you know, well known. And
Okay.
actually, also now I'm doing this record with Stable Mouth, and we got a German feature on there. And I was
Oh, cool.
surprised when I heard that. And it's like, wow, this guy sounds like Epilogue. I love it. And
Nice.
actually, Stable Mouth said the same. It's like, okay, yeah, that's amazing that you also notice that. And so yeah, rap used to be pretty big here in Berlin,
Okay.
but not to me. I don't have many connections, actually none. I did meet Audio 88 a couple of times at some shows, and
Okay.
I also started working on a remix for him like decades ago, but it never led anywhere. And
Okay.
his style was also pretty cool, that because it was not as, you know, as boring to my ears.
Okay.
It was like this guy also had something to say, and it was
Yeah.
different.
Okay.
And but yeah, I never really stuck around the German scene. I always, you know, went overseas, you know, with Kid Presentable, California,
Yep.
and Brett Hamers. And he was in Portland, Oregon, and also New York. And that was always more interesting to me,
I gotcha.
way more interesting.
Well,
Yeah.
yeah, and so do you fall under the Saskatoon rap camp now, or are you part of that label, or do you just work together and release each other's products? What's the
Well,
relationship between you two?
we are there's two labels now. There was a split at some point, and now it's Saskatoon rap music.
Mm-hmm.
And
Right.
I'm part of that one.
Okay.
And that actually originated when I was in Canada last year, which also
Right.
felt super unreal.
You
I
you
was staying at
stayed at
Chap's
DJ
house.
Chap's house, yeah.
Yes, that was super amazing, man. Like seeing everything for myself. Like the rap nest is
It's crazy.
unbelievable. You know, it's like there's so many records. I mean, I kind of have a couple of records, like maybe 400 if you count CDs.
Okay.
But there's like, wow,
It's amazing,
everything
huh?
that you can think of, it's there.
Oh, that's
It's there.
crazy.
Oh, that exists. That exists. You know,
Yeah.
it was a great moment. Anyway, when I was there, Chaps and I were in this record store,
Okay.
and I was just going through the vinyl section, and I was like, "Wow, this is super cheap here. It's like $5 for like a
Oh,
record that I would pay easily 30 over here."
yeah, that's
Um,
right. Very expensive.
Crazy. And then he found this 7-inch, and it had like a couple of words on it only. There was graffiti, rap music, and Rap Attack. Yes. And it
Oh
looked
man.
super old, and it was like, okay, yeah, fuck it, we'll just buy this.
Yeah.
And we listened it at his house back then, and it was like this late 70s, I think it's either French or Italian, like electro stuff with some rap on it. And it was basically as we learned later on, was a parody of pop music or pop music or something. And
Ah,
and then we just started saying like a comment to everything, rap music. And
right. Oh, so
then
that's
on the
how
last
that
day,
name came
yeah,
about.
yeah.
That's
And then on the
crazy.
last day, it was okay, yeah, we kind of need a new banner, and it's like, okay, task is to rap music. Let's do it.
Yeah.
And
And
that's Chaps, Edobilus, Sign One, Chario, Noto, um, ah, me, the Gumshoe Strut.
okay.
Um, I'm I'm not prepared.
No, that's okay.
it's
Hey, and
it's
you
a
guys,
bunch of
did
guys.
you did
Edobilus
you
definitely.
actually stay in the rap nest? Did you sleep in there, or did
I
you have?
slept one night in there.
Cool.
Uh, I had like another room first, but then
Yep.
there was also Edobilus. He was staying there when Summer Fling hit,
Yep.
and he was playing there, and he had to get up super early, so I'm staying down there, and I was okay. I can sleep that night in the rat nest, and
Yeah.
I was also, I was like 2.5 weeks in Canada. I was like, I don't want to be like a bother for two and a
Right.
half weeks at your house,
Okay.
so I kind of also figured out with Noto that I'm staying a week in his basement, and
Yep.
that was all super cool, and still
Fantastic.
feels super unreal.
Yeah, yeah. Chaps
These
told me
guys are amazing.
that you spent a lot of time burning some of the music that was in the rap nest and just picking up
Yes.
some music. So that's great, man. Oh man, what a great visit! And he said a lot of great things, man. You guys did had a lot of fun out there, and I heard that you were going back at some point, right?
Yes, that's the plan. It's kind of not 100% sure because I
Okay.
gotta hit up the dentist at some point, and these guys can be pretty pricey.
Yeah.
And but yeah, it's, let's say, 90% safe.
All right, man.
Hopefully.
Hey, well, that'll be fun. Well, hey, with that, I heard that you also contribute to one of DJ Chaps's radio shows.
Mm.
Yeah. So, can you tell me what you do? Is it the third verse, or is it the other one that you contribute to? Which show do you contribute to, and what do you do?
When I was over there, I joined him live for third verse, but
Okay.
also did the the rules,
Yep.
which is a pre-recorded show, and a couple of weeks, actually it's already months ago, time flies, he asked me, because there was something like a job opportunity, and if I could help out with the rules for a couple of weeks,
Okay.
and but that didn't happen, and he was staying, but he still asked, so do you want to be part of this anyway? It's like, yes, please.
Very
Because
cool.
back then, when I was having a job that we had to commute to, and 1 hour go and 1 hour come back, and I was always the guy, like, I was the album guy. You
Okay.
If I like your music, that means I like the entire album. I can listen to it front to back,
Yeah.
and then at some point, like I said, it was pretty hard to get like original copies. And when I started out, lots of stuff was downloaded. And, when MP3s could be downloaded off the official websites. And sometimes people would just upload a remix that was just available on the website.
Okay.
No CD, nowhere. But I never really wanted to have just a collection of files that I
Okay.
put together. Then I started making mixes that were
Ah.
like 1 hour, 70, 80 minutes long, and
Yeah.
just listen to those. It was like very nicely mixed, if I might say so myself. And
Yeah.
that's kind of how I learned doing that, by just, yeah, learning by doing. And
Okay.
this is kind of now the next step. I can do what I actually really like. I can do that on the radio, and it's
Fantastic.
amazing. And yeah, I'm super grateful for Chaps to having asked me. And yeah, now I think next week is the tenth show. So
Okay.
10 weeks in a row.
Oh
And
man.
I'm taking care, like for now, I'm taking care of the. There's always one set is international, and the
That's
other
right.
set is Canadian.
That's right.
So I've been taking care of the international one, and this week we're gonna do actually a really nice one. It's like an Alias tribute set,
Oh,
and
fantastic.
I got some really nice things coming there. And
Oh,
yeah,
very cool. Well, good, man. Hey, I love the collaboration between Germany and Canada. It's great. And then it's awesome that your relationship sprouted into what you're doing with them today. And so now I want to talk about some of the albums that you've made. One of my favorite ones is Waveforms that you
oh
did in
nice.
2023. One that I really love, and I listened to that quite a bit. And so, what was the
Nice.
idea behind that album? Any special thoughts when you were putting that projects together? It's a great lo-fi album that
Yes,
just
thank you.
from start to finish, man. I really enjoyed it. And so, any thoughts on that project? Was there any special thought behind it?
Yes. Um, to go back a little further, I kind of learned that I work a lot better when there's a contest or a time limit
Oh,
working
sure.
in some ways. Because in 2014, I think, I was working on a computer game, and I had no idea. I always wanted to do like one of those point and click adventure games, and
Yeah.
that I found that some German guys developed an engine, and there was a contest. It's like, okay, so now or never. So I did that in a month, learned how to do it, made an entire game myself, and
Well, dude.
then I actually tried putting that on the music side, because until Waveforms, I didn't really have a proper solo album. Everything else was kind
Okay.
of, I didn't really consider the other things albums.
Okay.
There were like 40, 50 minutes long, but it's more like a beat tape, the Lazy Loops series. That was for me not really albums. It was just a collection of beats that I made in a pretty short time.
Yeah.
And Waveforms was different. Um, there was this friend of mine. We were working together in another gaming company,
Okay.
and he did, or he still does, actually, nice drawings, paintings, like either on paper or canvas,
Okay.
but also really good stuff digitally. And he's like really skilled at that. And I wanted to make an album, so I kind of had this self-inflicted challenge, I call it. It's like, okay,
Yeah.
send me a couple of pictures, and I'm using those as inspiration, and then make one beat per day.
Whoa.
And but then first track worked flawlessly. That
Orient.
was perfect.
Are you talking about orientation?
That one was actually, it was a little cheating because
Okay.
because that one I used for the first Pen Thief compilation.
Okay.
Um, that was, I think it was it was the intro. I used that as the intro, but I thought, okay, that actually works pretty well as an intro for the album.
I
So
love
the
that beat.
second one, nice, thank
Okay.
you, thank you.
Yeah.
The Ease track was the first one I did on the first day. It was
Okay.
February 2021, actually.
Oh
I
wow.
started doing that, and the final release was like last year. Was it
Yeah.
it was later.
Yeah.
and yeah, the February 1st was Ease, and I was seeing like started seeing this girl at that time, and at the end of the day, it didn't really feel right, and we kind of split.
Okay.
But and then I felt these kind of feelings that you feel after a failed relationship. And I was like,
Mm.
man, fuck this shit. I'm not gonna do this. Ain't nobody gonna listen to that anyway. So do your fucking music yourself, and I'm done. That's what I was thinking. But then I thought, actually, I could use that energy and put it into the creation process. So
Wow.
maybe that will help. And that's why the third track, Dis Ease,
That's
did
that's
this.
another one that I like. where it mentions the
Nice.
sample of depressing and
Yes.
yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
And
Uh,
that one was on the first day where everything, fell apart. I was like, okay, yeah, that actually works, so I can still do that. And then I just kept going, and by day 5 it was like the what's the name of that song, Understanding, is
okay.
it starts off super sad and melancholic, but then in the end, like whether the jazzy drums come in, and
Yeah.
actually there's like a soprano singer coming in with like a very upbeat kind of thing. That's when it ended, and where I actually felt much better again. And
Okay.
then like the idea was to go for 1 week, but then I actually went for 2 weeks because I could not stop.
Wow. It's a
And
great project.
thanks, man. And there was, yeah, the first 9 tracks plus orientation, and then I still had a couple more, and that's where the waveforms epilogue, you know,
Right.
the,
The
those were
other
the last
project.
ones. Yes. And
Fantastic.
yeah, so it felt great, and I still like to listen to that to this day,
It's a
and
good listen.
it just felt right to get it on vinyl.
Yeah.
And it was pretty pricey because I was also using this pressing plant in Taiwan,
Oh yeah,
uh,
yeah. It's I can't remember the name.
and Moby Nickel.
That's it. That's
That's
where
the
I
one.
get that's where I get my stuff pressed too.
Inobilus, he got me up to that, and he said this is actually like it's good stuff. They have good quality,
They
and
do.
yeah, so I pressed it there,
Okay.
but it got a little more expensive than I expected because shipping from Taiwan
Taiwan.
to the US is fair, but to
Yeah.
Germany, it's like you can
Expensive.
add 300 to 400 bucks to
Ooh,
the,
man.
yeah.
Okay.
So, and I also made a mistake or steep learning curve, however you want to phrase that.
Yeah.
Um, I only pressed 50 records of that.
Oh, which is
So,
more expensive. Yeah. That's right. You got to press 100 to get
yeah,
the money's worth. Yeah. I see. I know what you
yes.
mean. Yeah.
And
Definitely.
now I got to charge like 35 euros for one record, or else I would be losing money, And
Sure.
of course, at some point, I'm probably going to drop the price because what's better, getting the money back or sitting on a stack of records?
Yeah. For sure.
So, yeah.
It's a learning
And
process for sure.
oh,
Yeah.
yeah,
But
absolutely.
it's a great album though, man. I love that
Thanks, man.
project. But with that, hey man, I also listened to Dead Phones. That was one of your more
Mm,
recent projects from
yes.
February. Again, it's funny that you mentioned that you love deadlines or competitions because I think I read that it was your first adventure game made in the studio and it won a contest not too long ago. My
Yes.
favorite track on there was the last track, Credits. Was
Oh,
super cool.
nice.
Yeah, but do you
Mine
want to
too.
talk a little bit about that project at all?
Yes. That was the second time I wanted adventure game. Like the first one, actually also kind of won a contest, but I totally cheated on that one because back then I was married to this Brazilian woman,
Okay.
and here in Germany, when you say family, you mean maybe 5 people,
Okay.
and over there was, I think, there was more than 150 people she called family, and
Right.
she basically sent this link to the for the voting to her family, and bam, we won.
Oh,
So
everybody voted. Very cool.
but the second one, I switched engines, which was basically I went to Adventure Game Studio
Okay.
because I wanted to be able to that people can play it on all systems. You can
Yep.
play. There's like this other engine called Scum VM, which kind of started out as emulation software for older adventure games like Monkey Island and
Sure.
Maniac Mansion and Zack McCracken and stuff like that. But now it also supports this Adventure Game Studio,
Okay.
and you can play the games on, for example, like Nintendo Switch, on even PlayStation 1 if you know how to get it on there,
Oh,
or
great.
even Nintendo 64. but also computer on all cell phones, Macintosh, Linux, and it just runs on everything, And I was like, okay, this is the thing. It's also a free engine. And then I had another 4 weeks to learn the entire scripting engine and the software itself. And what I absolutely cannot do is draw and being visually creative. This is one of the things that's just foreign to me. So I could buy a couple of sample packs, like characters, or download free ones that people just don't use, and manipulated those, kind of like beat making. You take stuff that's already there and make your own thing out of that. And then I needed a soundtrack, so I also made that soundtrack in, I think it took me a week to make that one. And people seem to enjoy that one.
That's a great one too, and it also shows the diversity in your style of beat making. So I thought it was different but awesome too as well. So I love just your ability to weave into different styles. Very cool.
I think that's also connected to the widespread stuff that I listen to, because it's not just rap, it's everything kind of that has a certain artistic vibe to it. And that kind of helps at some point.
Very cool. Well, hey man, let me summarize everything with this question. If someone asked you to describe your style of music, what would you say?
Yes.
Maybe in a few words. Yeah. What would you say?
That was the answer. Yes. No, I never really, when people ask me, so what do you listen to? What kind of stuff do you listen to? It's like, well, that's a great question. Because how can you explain to people who don't really, who are not familiar with that type, or let's just say this type of rap, this type of hip hop music? How can you explain it to somebody who has this association to hip hop, like what only is played on MTV or the radio?
Right.
Because if you tell them, I make hip hop music, or I make like beats, I was like, okay.
Right.
They have like another association with that.
That's right.
So I kind of try to describe as well. It's kind of this melodic, beat infested
I like it.
music that's kind of related to hip hop in some way.
Okay.
But also now with the lo-fi rise, I think it can be described as that too.
Okay.
Probably some people would, beg to differ, but it's kind of a mix. One dude even said, "Oh yeah, man, your stuff sounds like the early Bonobo stuff." It's like, wow, great. That's also somebody that I really enjoy, like Bonobo, the Animal Magic, the first record, bam, that was really, really good. And so other people said trip hop, hip hop, lo-fi, and stuff like that.
I like it, man. Well, hey, man, it's good. Hey, thank you for a deep dive into your musical journey. I love it, and I always love just understanding what the different pockets of hip hop look like around the world. So thank you for giving us a look into what German hip hop, or at least working from Germany and supporting the culture, what it looks like from your perspective. Now I've got a couple fun questions I wanted to close the interview out with. Always my favorite portion. But hey, Noblonski, if you were an animal, which animal would you be and why?
That's kind of like, just to say one of those records that I started out with, the human soul, because there's almost no half-life. That's a Joe's one line. And that was kind of the perfect setup for that. But no animal. I think a dog.
Okay. All right. Why is that?
Because they're like they're fun, they always go for what's there. They're not really, they're super active, and they don't judge stuff, you know. They're just like, okay, there's a ball, let's fucking play, you know. They're just
All
so
right.
present and very in it. Yeah.
Okay. I love it. All right. Hey, if you could have any superhero power, what would it be?
Whoa, superpower. All of them.
I love it. I agree.
That's probably
Um,
very, very unhealthy, but I don't know. Probably, I think I would go with the laser eyes. You know,
okay. All right. I like that one, man. Uh, Hit somebody up if you say something crazy. That's
whack
good.
MCs, watch out.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, man. All right. Hey, what about if you could have dinner with any two people in history, dead or alive, who would it be?
Holy shit! I wouldn't know how to answer that.
That probably needs more time for thought,
I
though, huh?
I prefer eating alone, but I think like just would be really interesting. I think it's one of those guys like Tesla and
Okay.
like Nikola Tesla, not the car.
Yep.
And
Yep. Absolutely.
and who would the second person be? I think Mozart.
Fantastic. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Draw back to your classical roots, man. Okay. Great. Good answer. All right. Hey, if you were to introduce somebody to German cuisine, what would be the first dish you would have someone try?
Do you know about German cuisine?
Nope, but I'm going there and I'm gonna I'm gonna take that recommendation and run with it.
Well, there's Italian cuisine, which is great. The French cuisine is amazing. That's where the word comes from, because
Yep.
they have great food. But the German food, that's kind of disgusting. You know,
Oh, but I heard
it's
schnitzel is amazing.
yeah, but that's kind of Austrian. You know,
Oh, is it?
it
Okay.
it
All right.
kind of comes from there. Of course, Germans have schnitzel too, but it's
Yeah.
more like Austria is famous for it. If you get a Wiener
Ah,
schnitzel, that's like that
okay.
thing is bigger than your plate. And but Buletten probably it's like some kind of meatball.
Okay.
Um, there's onions in there, and there's
Mm,
like a little bit of bread and meat. But if you eat meat, then probably Buletten. It
bulletin.
comes with
Okay.
potatoes and like some sauce and some vegetables. But German food is not the thing I would eat here. I mean, there's probably like 20 German food restaurants out here,
Okay.
while there are 500 international.
International restaurants.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
yeah. I'm sure it's
not that popular.
I see. Well, hey
Not even to
man,
me.
got experience local cuisine if you're there. So thank you for that. And with that, any other special projects that you got coming up that you want to talk about? I know you mentioned you got some big news. I don't know if it's press ready yet, but anything you want to mention before we cut this interview?
Oh, there's a couple actually. So like, got another 30 minutes? No, I'm kidding.
Fantastic.
Uh,
Hey, let's hear it.
there's like this one is I'm kind of helping putting that out on the European side as well,
All
which is
right.
also super unreal. Um, at some point, I saw like this shirt design popping up on Instagram, and lots of people were like reposting. I was like, "The fuck is that? What's a tag? What
Yeah.
is that?" Because over here, like I said, it's not it wasn't really available to me,
Yeah,
and
that's
I
right.
never heard about it. And P minus, I was like, who is that?
Okay.
And then I was just like, I saw the backside of the shirts. I was like, all the artists that I really love on there
Yep.
on one shirt. I was like, okay, let's get that. And we kind of started talking because I think there was some issue with the shipping.
Oh, sure.
And we kind of started talking. And yeah, then he asked me at some point, do you want to help put this record of like some of my favorite artists out? It's like, sure, that's what I do. And
Yeah.
he asked me to remix a track, and it ended up being 2 tracks. And I think now I can say it. Like it's still super super like yeah, I'm like the 19-year-old kid in me. It's like, what?
Excited.
Like I remixed the track with Dose One and Able One, and
Fantastic.
they loved it.
Oh,
And
great.
one of his, because we're having 3 releases of that actually.
Okay.
We're going like full Taylor Swift on this one, and we have one release in Canada put out by Han Solo Records, and there's gonna be 2 remixes on there, also by great artists.
Okay.
And then there's gonna be the American one, and one of his remixes, jumped ship, and he asked me, "Could you like do another one?" I said, "Oh yeah, yes, please."
Very cool.
And so I got 2 remixes on that one coming up. Like the second one is gonna be the Meanest Man contest track, which is also like also the original is like super great.
Very
And
cool.
that's like the big thing that I'm like the most excited for this release.
Congratulations, man. That's gonna be
Then
great.
oh yeah, thanks, man. Then I got this record with Noto in the works. It's
Okay.
gonna be like 8, 9 tracks,
All right.
and there's like some super cool stuff on there. Also, Stable Mouth is featured on one track,
Yeah.
and also with Stable Mouth, I got a record in the works,
Yep.
and this is gonna be. Oh, I can't say too much about it. We also got like a couple of really nice features already, like recorded. We have already Noah 23 and Tess. Remember Tess from back in the 2001, 2,
Oh,
3, Take
yeah.
Home Tess. He did that
Okay.
record, and
Yeah, so you got him on another. Oh, fantastic, man.
yes,
Oh, what a
it's
great
like
lineup.
this guy like back then blew my mind. And now also working with him, we also have him on a remix already on the album that I did with Capacity from
Okay.
Minneapolis.
All right.
And we did a couple of remixes for that one, and he jumped on the Rove remix. And then there is that. Then we have the German dude featured on the one track. His name is
Nice.
Comic.
Okay.
And yeah, so that's one. And also I have another one with Capacity in the works, but
Okay.
it's like an EP.
Okay.
We have like a couple of remixers there. Dren, he's gonna flip one track that we did with Capacity, Staple Mouth, and Gumshoe Strut. It's on the
Oh man.
pre-order only bonus CD. But I thought, man,
All
this
right.
track is so good, it needs to be like spread out. Like everybody should be able to hear it. So I asked Dren to remix that, and I have like he's actually pronounced Xindel, but
Okay.
XNDL, the dude who
Okay.
did the Gun Porn album with Caveman Speak, Bluebird, and
Okay.
that's like I also reconnected with him. Just actually released this record, kind of on tape for him.
Super cool. Nice.
It's this one, and I asked him if he wanted to remix one track, and then I also got Tapeworm. It's this
Yeah.
dude, Morbidly Obese, he was called back then, and
Yeah. Where's he
now he's
from?
back. He was from Chicago, but now
Okay.
it's embarrassing, but I forgot where he moved to. It was
No, that's
somewhere
okay.
really nice,
Okay,
really.
from the US though. Yeah.
Yes, yes,
Okay.
definitely.
All right.
And he remixed one track, and he like I worked with him back then, and we actually wanted to make instrumental album,
Okay.
but at some point he moved, and
Oh.
his computer fell down, and all the tracks were lost, and he had you know
No.
the wave files, the recordings, but we kind of salvaged what we could, which was him and V8, and
Man.
I joined on that one, and we put those tracks on there. So yeah, and now he just reached out, I think,
Okay.
because there was like a 10-year silence,
Yeah,
and
sure.
It's so great that you're back because he was the guy that was always missing. You know, we made so much. I really enjoyed making music with him, and we made so good music together, and
Fantastic.
like
Oh,
all new material, but same style, same process, and
and
that's um, I think even though wait until these
oh,
albums are out, but I think this record with him is like the one that I'm most excited for.
whew, man. All right. I can't wait. Well, good, man. Thanks. You've been again just your catalog of music is exciting and so many amazing projects that we have to look forward in 2024 and 2025. So I can't wait to follow that. And with that, any final words before we close this amazing deep dive on your musical journey?
Who hears this or watches this, like I said, check out Kids Willman, and
I love it.
that's it.
Hey, thank you, brother. Thank you for your time. I know it's late out there in Germany, but I really appreciate it, and it's been an honor to speak with you.